Kent won a thrilling Yorkshire Bank 40 match at Edgbaston, one which ebbed and flowed before a run out on the very last ball gave Kent a victory by just one run over Warwickshire. Ian Bell won the toss and decided to have a go with the ball first, and Chris Wokes had Sam Billings caught by Jonathan Trott off a mistimed hoik in the 5th over. Billings was perhaps forced into such extravagance because of some very tight bowling early on from Warwickshire, last season's unlucky beaten finalists. Only 15 runs had come off the first 5 overs, but Brendan Nash and Rob Key just started to get the innings moving in the next few overs with some much-needed boundaries, which helped carry the total to 53 for 1 at the end of the first 10. On what looked like a good surface to bat on, Key took on the bowling when he could, using all of his years of experience to produce the kinds of shots he was perhaps not taught as a youngster. He was making steady progress now, with Nash as they took the total to 99 in the 19th over, and that represented a good performance. Key had made 44 from 48 balls when he was out, not getting enough bat on this sweep shot and finding Darren Maddy off the bowling of Jitan Patel. Nash then guided his side into 3 figures and added 26 with Darren Stevens. Nash, who started this summer well, looked in good nick again. He lost his partner Stevens for 15, and Sam Northeast followed in the same over as he offered Maddy a return catch, which left Kent on 128 for 4 after 24 overs. Importantly, Nash was still there, and it was now crucial that he didn't give his wicket away if Kent were going to amass a competitive total. This single took him to his 50, which was made off 62 balls with just 4 boundaries. It looked as if he was going to have to do it alone when Geraint Jones picked out Laurie Evans with a reverse to go for 6. So Nash had to keep the board ticking over. By the end of the 30th over, with his eye well set, he had 59 out of his side's 158 for 5. That became 182 for 6 in the 32nd over as Kent now pressed on, only to lose Adam Ball, who, after hitting 2 successive boundaries, was well held by Maddy for a very handy 28, which had occupied 22 balls. James Treadwell didn't last long, falling with 5 overs to go when he was brilliantly caught off screen by Will Porterfield off Wokes. Kent now needed a dash, and Matt Coles provided that for them. The first 2 deliveries of Wokes' final over rather ruined his figures as they were both smashed into the distance. Both were fantastically well executed strokes, which were helping Kent pick up the momentum right at the end of their innings. Coles made a vital 20 off 11 balls, but with 9 deliveries to go, he was run out by Evans after backing up a little bit too far. Nash, though, was still there on 90 as the last over began, getting there with this 7th 4. But having run 3 twos and a single, he was left needing 3 off the last ball to record his first ever list 100. He only got 1 to finish on 98. But he carried his team to a competitive 239 for 8 from their 40 overs, a total which Warwickshire would have fancied chasing down, especially with Bell opening up and Trott to come in next. They also had Varun Chopra, a man who improves year on year. He and Bell made the ideal start to their reply with plenty of boundaries coming in the opening 3 overs, by the end of which Warwickshire had already accumulated 25 runs. Bell was in scintillating form, and he began the 4th over by twice hitting Mark Davis for maximums. Both shots were right at the meat of his bat and travelled far and high as Warwickshire looked as if they might make light work of their target. But having raced to 35 off 23 balls, Bell was then out, for once missing using the middle of his bat and clubbing this delivery from Coles to Billings in the deep. Trott didn't last long either, having scored 3 runs from his first 7 balls. He then edged his 8th ball by Davis to Jones. Getting 2 such accomplished players out so near to each other would have certainly have motivated Kent some more, but they were well aware that there were plenty more batsmen to come for Warwickshire. One of those was Porterfield, who was soon on the attack as his side pretty much kept up with the original rate. And they started to better that after Chopra drove Stevens with perfect timing over long off for a 6. A shot matched a few overs later by Porterfield. These 2 had taken the target down to 93 off the last 14 overs with 8 wickets in hand. So Kent needed a wicket quickly, but instead they got 6 in an 8-over spell. Having made 65, Chopra drove Treadwell to Coles at 148 for 3. Next over, Maddy offered Adam Riley a simple caught and bowled, and worse followed. Evans clipped Stevens to Billings. Porterfield on 47 was LBW on the sweep to Riley. And Stephen Pilot and Wokes were both run out in the space of 7 balls as the panic started to spread. That left Warwickshire in trouble on 185 for 8, having lost 6 wickets for 37 runs in 8 awful overs. But Patel decided that this game could still be won if he threw the bat. And how he threw that bat to wonderful effect. When Wokes was out, Warwickshire needed 55 from 35 balls, but the way that Patel was hitting, there was every chance that they wouldn't require that many deliveries. 20 were still wanted when debutant Peter McKay swung Coles out to Stevens. He may have made only 3, but he'd shared in a 35-run stand with Patel, which had given the Bears some hope. And that hope remained as Patel drove a Coles full toss through the covers for 4 next ball. With Patel taking 11 runs off the penultimate over, incredibly only 5 were wanted off the last one. That came down to 2 needed off the final ball, but Patel's shot was brilliantly stopped by Ball, who then had the presence of mind to get to his feet to complete the run-out. It was a dramatic end to an excellent game of cricket, which was won by Warwickshire, lost in a mad 8 overs, nearly won again, only to lose on the very last ball with Patel making 50. Kent now head to Nottingham for a day-nighter on Wednesday, the same day that Warwickshire start their next championship match with Middlesex.